you will always love hip-hop. Keep it flowing like a river, so I drip drop. Verses and bars, we eating dinner with the stars. Excuse me while I float away, my brain is on Mars. Cause it's the Big Kidz podcast with Chris Williams. Sit back, relax, like your spliff, we in the building.
Yo, this is Chris Williams. Welcome back to another episode of the Big Kidz podcast. Thank you for joining me. It's been a journey getting here. It was an off week last week, not by choice, but because I recorded one of the dopest episodes that I've recorded to date, and I left a volume switch on, so there's like an echo throughout the whole entire podcast. So I'm trying to fix it, even if I can get it just to like an AM radio level of fix. I'm trying to fix it so I can put it out there, because it was a great episode from Dr. Devin Shambo. We had a good time talking about what makes a good teammate, what makes a good coach, what makes a good team. It shared some stories. It was a good time. In other news, I'm sick, so I'm trying to keep my tone. Honestly, this might be a good tone to do this podcast, because I'm usually super hype when I'm doing it. I'm super loud, but I'm not trying to get too loud on this one, because when you're sick and you can feel the coughs there, but you could kind of suppress it if you don't do too much. So I'm trying not to laugh. I'm trying not to speak too loud. I'm just trying to get through this podcast, because I was real close to not even doing it today, but I could not. There was no way in the world I could miss 2 weeks in a row. Even if last week there is an episode recorded, but there's just a certain standard that I'm trying to live up to now. Ever since we hit 100 episodes, I don't want to put out shit like that. I don't want to put out podcast episodes where the volume is shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna still trying to get in contact with a couple people, see if they can fix it themselves. If not, I'll keep messing with it on my free time, or if all else fails, we'll have to redo it. But that's not going to be as good as the original, just because we're going to be trying to rehash points that we made in the other one. It's going to feel a little blocky, and it'd still be a great episode, but I want that one. We had the visual aspect for it. Can't even do that. I don't even know how to fix the audio for that. So I had to turn it into an audio file so I can it's a mess. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But yeah, so and the part that really sucks is I spent like pretty much the whole entire day dotting my I's, crossing my T's. It's not his fault by any means, because this is, I'm the one that did it. But Rich came down here, he started asking me questions about how the podcast works, how my recording, how I set things up to record, and I'm showing him things, and before Shambo got on, I did not double check the fucking volume. I left it all the way up, and there's an echo. There's a goddamn echo that's irritating me. So yeah, that's where we are with that. In today's episode, guys, we're going to talk about 4 very powerful men that got some situations going on. They got some things that they may be not too proud of going on right now. Now, some of them may be a little worse than others, but again, I guess that's for you to decide. So the first one that I wanted to talk about is the former WWE owner, president, CEO, Vince McMahon. Now, Vince, it got exposed, it got leaked to the media. Something happened where we all found out that Vince paid a former employee $3 million not to go public with their affair. Now, I'm sure over the course of I don't know, how long has Vince owned WWE? Definitely longer than I've been alive. 40 years, 40-something years he's owned the WWE? I'm sure at 75, 76, 77, he's something like that, years old, that this isn't the first time that he's handed out a $3 million or what's equivalent to a $3 million payment to somebody that he was having an affair with. Now, what I wonder, and speculation, of course, is was it one of the wrestlers? Or was it like somebody in management? Either way, he is currently being investigated, and I don't really understand what needs to be investigated at this point. If we already know that he paid the $3 million, are they investigating to see if there's more payments? But he does have a response, and I'm going to share it with you guys right now. Alright, let me pull this up. I have pledged my complete cooperation to the investigation by the special committee, and I will do everything possible to support the investigation. I have also pledged to accept the findings and outcome of the investigation, whatever they are. Vince McMahon. Now, guys, I don't know how truthful this statement is, but this right here is probably the most honest statement that you will get out of any of the four guys that I'm going to talk about today. As it stands right now, today, Vince McMahon is cooperating. Vince McMahon is ready to take all accountability. That is not the case for the rest of the guys that I'm talking about. And it is sad. It is sad that, well, and also I don't want to go down that rabbit hole quite yet, because the other people that I am going to talk about have been investigated already. They have been investigated, and they're just not trying to get with it. Now, before I go on to them, let's talk about Vince McMahon real quick. Like I said before, Vince McMahon has owned the WWE for 40 plus years. Vince McMahon, his wife worked for the Trump administration. She was in Trump's cabinet. That probably isn't a good look, but at the same time, you are the company that you keep. So you don't hear about Linda McMahon ready to divorce this motherfucker. You don't hear about Melania Trump ready to divorce Donald. They're all doing the same shit. Listen, I just don't understand why you would get married. No. You're not getting what I'm trying to say here. Why, if you are worth hundreds of millions, billions of dollars, would you get married knowing you're going to do what you're going to do? Derek Jeter never caught any heat for this. Derek Jeter had a whole bunch of girlfriends. Why didn't Derek Jeter catch any heat for this? Because he wasn't married. That was the only difference between Derek Jeter and Tiger Woods. So maybe instead of paying out $3 million, like, dude, come on, you're paying out $3 million for some ass? I'm glad to see that you're owning up to it, but you're ready to pay $3 million for some ass, man. See, man, these rich folks, they get to do what they want to do, when they want to do it, how they want to do it. And there's very little accountability, because if you could just hand out $3 million, that ain't shit to you. That didn't put you in a hole. That didn't make it so you couldn't pay your bills that month. You're just handing out $3 million for ass appointments. And listen, from what I hear, it's not a sexual assault thing. As of right now, at least. But it's still very, very, very unacceptable. You know what we could have done with $3 million? I'm not even gonna go there with you guys today. I'm gonna sip my coffee to help soothe my throat, because I've been fucking I haven't even been hacking out anything up. I've just been fucking coughing. I feel what coming out right now about that pause. You know, it's not even like I'm fucking coughing up a bunch of shit. I'm just coughing. fucking sucks. Got my head ringing. Shit. But speaking about head ringing, I got a whole smorgasbord of Donald Trump quotes that I wanted to drop for you guys in honor of the January 6th committee that's going on, that the Republicans still to this day don't care about. But we'll get to that throughout these quotes that I pull up for you guys, all right? Now, before we dog out Donald Trump like we love to do here, because there's just so much to get on his ass about, let's let him have one, all right? Before we bring the shit pyramid down on him, let's let him have one, because all the crazy ass shit that Donald Trump says, there are some truths in there. There are some truths in there, and the one that I want to share with you guys is in regards to Ted Cruz. You know, we try to be fair around here, so credit where credit's due, and I think Donald Trump hit the nail on the head with this one. Pull this up real quick. Ted Cruz lifts the Bible high into the air and lies like a dog over and over again. The evangelicals in South Carolina figured him out and said no. Twitter, February 23rd, 2016. What a fucking guy, huh? See, listen, we give credit where credit's due here, and even though this is definitely a bit of projection on Donald Trump's part, because he lies like a dog over and over again as well. He had over 30,000 lies as the president. I don't know how many days exactly are in 4 years, you know? Was that? I'm just gonna pull it up just for my sake. 1,460. So this dude was averaging multiple lies a day. Wow. Yeah. So he did hit the nail on the head right there. Ted Cruz is one of the biggest hypocrites known to man. This is the same guy that, when his state was hurting because they had a normal winter day, a normal week of winter, pipes were bursting, houses were freezing over, and Ted Cruz took his family from Texas to Cancun. This is what he did. This is what he did not have a problem with doing, and he didn't even fess up to that. So, you know, he tried to act like he was just dropping. Like, who the hell? Like your wife's not a grown ass woman. He was all, I'm just trying to make sure my family gets down there safe. Yeah, okay. Well, you were ready to stay down there until your ass got caught. You thought after popping all that shit for years that nobody was gonna wonder where you were when your state was under ice. So Donald Trump got that one. Like I said, we give credit where credit is due, even though Donald Trump was 100% dealing in projection, because he knows that him and Ted Cruz are two peas in a pod. Plain and simple. Let's pull up another quote for you. Alright, this one's a doozy by Trump. It's an all-time classic, because it doesn't matter what time period, what's going on. This is always his mantra. He's not coming off of this. I have been the most transparent president in administration in the history of our country by far. Still to this day, he has not released his tax returns. Still to this day, he claims that his first impeachment over holding military supplies and money hostage from Ukraine, unless they got him dirt on Joe and Hunter Biden, he called that phone call perfect. Guys, we might cover that phone call next week. I don't know. Maybe I'll think about it. But it wasn't perfect. You can go read it. It takes about 3 minutes to read. It wasn't perfect. This is the same man who knew that he lost the election, but encouraged a mob full of people to go take over the House of Congress with his vice president in there, and said that maybe the supporters have the right idea when they were chanting hang Mike Pence. That's this guy. But he's the most transparent. Yeah, okay. What the hell is wrong with this dude? And I keep flipping back and forth between recording the podcast and listening to the Jan 6 hearing, because this guy is so full of shit and he's dangerous. And while he probably isn't the worst person in the world because he has no idea what the fuck he's really doing, the dude doesn't read. I have a whole entire book of shit Trump says, which is things that he has said during news reportings and on Twitter, and he admits to not reading. So this man does not read, so he doesn't really know what's going on, but he has made a lot of shit acceptable. He has made being a flat-out racist acceptable. He has made it acceptable to just say what the fuck you feel like saying, even though those thoughts need to be kept to yourself. We all have fucked up thoughts. Sometimes you gotta keep them shits to yourself. A lot of the time you gotta keep them shits to yourself. And now this man tried to dead ass rig an election. Again, like I said, projection. The only motherfuckers that are getting in trouble for voter fraud, I'm not saying 100%, but it's sure as hell not close, are Republicans. Are fucking Republicans. So now what this dude has done has made it acceptable to question the election, to act like the normal procedures aren't the normal procedures, to come up with your own rules because you are the president. And this is why I'd really truly think that the Democrats should probably do something, because I'm telling you right now, when the Republicans retake the House, the Senate, the presidency, they're going to operate by their new set of rules. And their new set of rules might make it so the Democrats never see that power again. Might really make it so they never see that power again. They're not playing by the same rule book. There's something new going on here. And listen, maybe it's time. These motherfuckers want to play voter ID shit. Alright. Maybe the federal government should pay for everybody to get an ID. We play fucking voter ID bullshit with you guys. Federal government's paying for everyone to get a driver's license or some form of ID that can be used to go vote with. What's so bad with that? You know, but of course, that's the Democrats compromising, and then the Republicans are going to have a problem with it, just to have a problem with it. Because, guys, listen, IDs are not cheap. Like, even, like, if you're a driver's license, like $65, something like that. A non-driver's license ID is still, what, $20? Some people, in the real world, guys, some people don't got $20 to go spend on that shit. They just don't. And so, I don't know. You gotta play the game with these guys. They're not operating by 1980s, 1990s rules. Them shits are out the window. They're doing something else. And when somebody that comes along that is a little more savvy, knows how to fucking get shit done, that's not Donald Trump, could be a real situation. And with that said, guys, I want to bring up one more quote for you guys. Granted that we're talking about the Jan 6th special committee and Donald Trump being an absolute sore loser. Alright, sore loser Trump. Let's pull up this quote. Sorry, I'm clicking around. It's already up here for you guys. Crooked Hillary is the worst and biggest loser of all time. She just can't stop, which is so good for the Republican Party. Hillary, get on with your life and give it another try in 3 years. Now, is this man serious? Is this man serious? Because he's the one that's really not giving it up. Listen, the Democrats were upset about the election in 2016 and questioned the legitimacy of it until the Justice Department came out and said that everything was okay. We moved on. They moved on. Everybody moved on. Until it started to pop up that you were lying about who you were talking to. If you would have just told people the truth, it probably wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But anyway, I'm not even going to get into that because there's so much shit to get into when it comes to this man. Dude, you lost the election. Your people told you that you lost the election. It is time to close the yearbook, bro. Why don't you go off and do shit that ex-presidents do? Why don't you go off and get overly paid to give bullshit speeches like ex-presidents do? Why don't you just go fuck off? You really, again, projection. Everything that these people accuse others of doing, it's their fault. Or that's what they're up to. Excuse me. It's absolutely fucking madness. And again, guys, there are quotes on top of quotes on top of quotes of hypocrisy. And if these, actually, I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that at the end. I'm gonna get to that at the end. But if Donald Trump cannot be held accountable because we can't determine what his mindset was and if he knew he was committing a crime or not, that's bullshit. Because if me or you did something like this, you see the people that went into the Capitol, their asses got locked up. Maybe not for 10, 20, 30 years, but they got locked up. This just continues to show that people with money and power and lawyers can do what they want to do. You got people turning down congressional subpoenas and not worried about it. And that's what we're going to get into next, actually. And guys, before we go any further, I realized that Hillary was spelled wrong in there, and these are copy and pasted from his shit. So he's the one that spelled that shit wrong. Alright, but anyway, guys, I wanted to talk to you guys about Daniel Snyder, the Washington Commanders owner. And while the U.S. Congress could probably be spending, you know, their time doing different things than governing the NFL, that's what they're doing right now. And they have sent this man a subpoena, and he has rejected it. He has rejected it a couple times. And yesterday they had a oversight and reform committee. They had an oversight and reform committee meeting. Is that a proper term for that? But anyway, Dan didn't show up. And this is what chairperson Carolyn Maloney had to say. Rather than show up and take responsibility for his actions, Snyder chose to skip town. Apparently, Mr. Snyder is in France, where he has docked his luxury yacht near a resort town. That should tell you just how much respect he has for women in the workplace. Now, if you guys don't know, he has been under multiple investigations for just how the Washington franchise has been ran pretty much since he's bought it. And as of yesterday, a sexual assault matter was brought up during this committee meeting, and nobody knew about that at the time. So instead of cooperating, he's saying fuck your subpoenas. Again, if me or you tried some shit like that, we're getting locked up. But because he's a multi-billionaire, he has nothing to worry about. What are they going to do? In the past however many years, what has Congress done to these wealthy people to hold them accountable? They do what they want to do, when they want to do it. And again, this is a clear indication of where we're at with things. They should be arresting his ass as soon as he steps foot back on U.S. soil. How do you just disregard a subpoena from Congress? That's supposed to be like one of the highest subpoenas your ass can get. That's not like some local fucking subpoena, bro. That's federal government subpoena. And over and over again the past couple months, we just see people just completely disregarding these things. Just completely disregarding these things. But again, how do you hold poor people accountable but refuse to hold people that got money accountable? What sense does that make? How do you send people who are poor and don't have anything to jail and prison for years on top of years on top of years for doing some of the dumbest shit in the world? Meanwhile, you got these rich people out here stealing hundreds of millions of dollars, disregarding the law, doing what they want to do, and there's no accountability there. Why? Because they could pay for a lawyer that could find a fucking loophole? Or isn't good with the DA or some bullshit like that? Like, how come everybody is not treated the same in that regard? And again, guys, if you or me disregarded a congressional subpoena, that'd be our ass. Plain and simple. But time and time again, we see that there are two different justice systems. The judges are in on it too. Shit is fucking crazy. Donald Trump's people said fuck off. Daniel Snyder said fuck off. And what are you guys gonna do? What are you guys gonna do? What the fuck are you guys gonna do? Not a goddamn thing besides flap your fucking lips. Lock them motherfuckers up as soon as they... Lock Dan's ass up as soon as he touches American soil. Now, guys, this has been going on since the dude has bought the team. He has driven one of the more premier, and whoever's listening to this might not even understand this because it's been so long, but one of the more premier NFL teams into the dirt. Before the Cowboys built their stadium and tried to add a couple extra seats, so they had the biggest NFL stadium, Washington had the biggest NFL stadium, sold out year after year. Now they're handing out tickets. Now they're you buy a foot long from Subway, you get a free ticket type of deal going on. And this is where this man has brought things. And I'm so interested and invested in what happens with Washington because my boy Carson Wentz went there, and I want things to go well for him. And I feel like this can go one or two ways. The team could be absolutely shitty, or they could bond together, because it's not like the whole entire team's running around committing acts that they shouldn't act. It's the owner. And again, all these owners be doing dumb shit. Are they held to the same standard as the players? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And that brings us to the final piece of our rich guy puzzle. The final piece to our rich guy puzzle, and how certain people get away with certain fucking things. And I hate to do it because I am an uber fan of this guy, but Deshaun Watson is up shit's creek right now. Alright, my biggest thing is just wanting to clear my name. I never assaulted, disrespected, or harassed anyone, but at the same time, I do understand that I do have regrets as far as the impact it's had on the community and the people outside of just myself. And that includes my family, that includes this organization, that includes my teammates in this locker room that have had to answer, or in this locker room that have had to answer to these questions. Might be a little bit of that wasn't really smooth from a words standpoint. But this is Deshaun Watson's response to what's going on with the 20 some odd women who are accusing him of acting inappropriately, sexual harassment, and things along those lines. Now, at no point in that does he apologize. At no point in that does he take responsibility for pulling his dick out. Now, guys, listen. I know there's been times where you want to pull the dick out. There's a time and place for everything. Getting a massage is not one of them. This isn't a fucking movie. This isn't a TV show. This is real life. You don't pull your dick out at a massage parlor, hard dick, and act like they're supposed to do something with it. Now, they do tell you at a massage parlor, at a spa, you may become aroused. But this is where we have to be adults. Just because you are doesn't mean that you gotta do. Alright? Now, if you have something going on between two adults, that's really the adult's prerogative. But when you have done this to dozens and dozens and dozens of women, there's a problem there. Dude, you are a multi-millionaire. I'm trying to understand how and why this is the way that you need to get your rocks off. Everybody's got a scratch that needs to be itched. But how is this a productive way to do that? How is this a way in which that you think has some longevity to it? You think that you're just going to be able to continue to do this for years and years, and you know he was doing this. You know he was doing this when he was at Clemson. Why wouldn't he have been? I am baffled at the lack of taking responsibility, owning up to it. You didn't make people do what they wanted. Maybe they didn't want to see your dick, man. And listen, I'm sure apparently some of these women were cool with this. Some of them were, but some of them fucking weren't, man. And how about you go figure it out? Figure it out. Listen, when Robert Kraft had his whole getting his dick sucked fiasco down in Florida, apparently that was already arranged. For good or bad, whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, those women weren't coming out saying that he was doing something that wasn't agreed upon. And for your lawyer to come out on radio and say getting a happy ending isn't illegal, that does not help your case at all. This is some real low budget shit, and if it's not low budget, me calling it low budget is giving you the benefit of doubt. If this was something that wasn't low budget, that means it was sinister. It sounds like Clemson might have been in on it. It sounds like Houston might have been in on it. And honestly, Cleveland's okay in it. Cleveland just gave you the biggest contract in NFL history. While you're going to miss a year and carry this stigma with you for the rest of the time that you're in the league. Because, dude, it wasn't 3, 4, 5. It was 60-something women that came out and said that you did this. And a third of them are suing you for it. More than a third of them are suing you for it. You know, come on, man. There's something that's fucking creepy. There's something going on, and I hope the Browns are having you speak to somebody, because this isn't the end of that. This is not the end of this. If this is how Deshaun's getting down, we will hear about him in the future, whether it's while he's playing or when he's retired. We're gonna hear about him. Now, guys, today was a pretty short episode, only because a lot of this shit is similar. It is rich people who are getting away with things because they have money. Plain and simple. Vince McMahon has $3 million to pay this woman so she doesn't say anything. Someone leaked it, but he had the funds to initiate it. Donald Trump has the money to be able to pull well, we can't criminally charge him if he didn't know that this was illegal. How many different ways and times does he have to be told that what he is doing is illegal? We got Daniel Snyder, who for 20-something years has been doing whatever the hell he wants to do with no checks or balances, has run one of the biggest franchises into the dirt, gets accused of sexual assault, and he's in France on a yacht when he's supposed to be testifying in front of Congress, and that's just okay. And then we have Deshaun Watson, because he's super talented, he gets to pay a couple $1 million to dozens of women and sign the biggest contract in NFL history. This is madness. There is no way anything that I just named, anything that I just listed off would be acceptable in whatever town, whatever friends group, whatever little community that you're part of. No one in that community would be allowed to get away with this shit. Nobody. Not me, not you, not your dad, not your grandmother. Listen, something has to be done. This shit is not fair. And I know I've been on this show plenty of times and talked about how life just isn't fair. It is what it is. But life seems to be pretty fucking nice if you could pay for a lawyer. If you could pay for a lawyer, the amount of anxiety that you have going into a day-to-day, situation to situation, you can act however the hell you want to act. You could do whatever the hell you want to do. You could say whatever the hell you want to say because you got a lawyer that somehow, some way will make it a lot less drastic than it actually is. If me or you paid the chick that works at the motherfucking that works at the school $1,500 to keep her mouth shut, imagine the fucking bullshit we would have to deal with. Imagine if we don't even gotta imagine, it happened, try to overturn an election. Motherfucker, you're going to jail. If me or you try to say, nah, you know what, I'm not, fuck that congressional subpoena, we're going to jail. If me or you were accused of pulling your dick out in front of 60-something women, more than half of which did not agree to that, if we did that shit, we'd be on the sex offenders list. But no, because they got money. They got money. Guys, it's not the end for any of these people. It's not the end for... The only person that seems somewhat ready to take some sort of responsibility for this is Vince McMahon. And I feel like that's just because we're at the beginning process of it, and that's the right thing to say. But nobody else wants to take responsibility for anything that they've said or done here. Nobody. Nobody. And what can we do about that? Is there anything we can do about that? I don't know. I don't think so. And I don't know if that'll ever change. But guys, thank you for tuning in this week. I'm sick. I try to expedite this episode a little bit because I'm sick. So thank you for tuning in. I am going to try to get the Shambo episode up soon. I don't think it really matters at what point that gets released. I think that's a timeless episode. That'll be relevant no matter if I release it this week, next week, or in 3 years. So I will get that right somehow, some way, and we'll put that up there. And yeah, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you continuing to tune in. Definitely go to the YouTube page, subscribe, like, all that cool stuff for me. I know it's a pain in the ass, but just please do that for me. I would really appreciate that, because that's what we're trying to migrate to. We're trying to move everything over to YouTube. I'll still have the audio up on the other streaming platforms, but I'm trying to get this YouTube thing going, so I definitely appreciate you liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, and anything and everything, helps out. So like always, guys, remember to be safe, be easy, and wash your ass. I'm out of here. Peace.